Hey, it's Brunch with Brian, your home investing live stream back today with a very important lesson. And what do you know? Today is, who knows what day today is? Today is Formal Dining Room Friday. Yay. So that means we go to the formal dining room and we light the candles. Today we're going to talk about one of the most important things about business, and it's Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So what was Abraham Lincoln's nickname? What was Abraham Lincoln's nickname, everybody? Do you guys know that? And what was he and our other most famous president, George Washington, what were they both known for? Telling the truth, telling it straight. George Washington said when his dad asked him, who knows the story of the cherry tree? Of course, he chopped down the cherry tree and his father said, who chopped it down? He says, I did. I cannot tell a lie. And of course, what's Abraham Lincoln's nickname? I think you guys all know that. Honest Abe. That's right. So you guys are commenting, right? I saw some comments. Don't just say hi. Say some good things about what I'm saying. That's what I like. When you can talk about what I'm talking about, maybe relate it to yourself. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to relate this approach. And now Ron LeGrand, what is one of his famous sayings? Don't make promises you can't keep. Never make promises you can't keep. So that's very important that you need to, and deals go up and down, backwards and forwards. And sometimes the only thing you can hang on to is the fact that you're always a straight shooter in this business. So we have this deal developing that I'm going to use as an example. And we had only a 2-year term from a seller on one particular deal. And so usually we like to get, as long as the mortgage is, until the mortgage runs out, or an extended period of time for sure. On this one, the most we could get is 2 years. That still works. Don't turn down a deal if the seller's only going to give you 2 years. In fact, I wouldn't turn down a deal if the seller's really only going to give me 1 year. Number one, you might be able to get an extension. And number two, there's still a bunch of money to be made. And you just got to put someone in there who you're pretty sure you can get qualified quickly. So while we love long-term deals, there's still money in a shorter term deal. This one we had 2 years, and the first person we put in there, we thought they looked pretty good, but guess what? They pooped out on us at about 18 months. So what are we going to do? So they moved out. We put a brand new person in there, and we only had 6 months though before our seller financing was going to expire. So what's the first choice that you do? Even before this, we had been talking to our seller, because that's your first choice. When you have a short time left on seller financing, sometimes you just got to call that seller and try to get an extension. Now, if you've been making payments on time and taking care of the house, and they haven't really had to worry about anything, and they're not typically a fretful type, then you bumped the camera there. So then you may not really have to do much. You may not have to persuade them too hard to give you an extension. They might be okay with it, even if it's just 12 more months or whatever period. We knew this seller would not. We'd been talking to the seller and talking to him, and he was not going to give us an extension. So he wanted to be paid off. So there was no mortgage on this house. It was a free and clear house. And we kept thinking, well, can't we just get him to wait a little longer? It's not like there's a ticking time bomb of a mortgage. We just couldn't do it. And we're pretty persuasive. And in fact, when we kept trying, he actually brought in a lawyer. He said, okay, talk to my lawyer. So he brings in a lawyer, and then you don't have much to work with. So we knew we had to pay him off. And so that's kind of another whole interesting story, because then we started working out the deal after the deal, which was getting a discount on what we had to pay him. Since it's a free and clear house, you'd think, usually they have some flexibility. So we had to pay him off, and we jumped through some hoops and figured out how to do it. And we ended up just writing him a check, but we got a discount. So I don't want to go off into that whole story. But we actually met with his lawyer. In fact, we had such a good time with his lawyer. His lawyer and the head of the legal firm he worked for took us out to lunch. So, obviously, I like lawyers that are deal makers, so it was worth it to go on this lunch with them. So we went back to our buyer and we said, look, we were looking for someone who could close within 6 months, because otherwise we were going to have to come up with a bunch of money and pay off this seller. So what did we do? We got someone who was very close to being qualified. All they had to do was sell a house in the state they were moving from. So they were moving to Arizona from another state. So as far as we knew, and certainly how they presented it to us, was this would be a relatively quick deal. Things are selling pretty fast. So they thought this thing would be sold quickly. We'd be able to move on. And come to find out, there's a bunch of credit issues. There's debt ratio issues. That house was taking, I don't know why, but that house didn't sell. So they missed the deadline. We had to work something out and pay off the seller. So this cost us some money. And then we had an agreed upon price. Remember, you only write the option for a certain period. So we only wrote that option to buy for 6 months because we wanted to close this thing in 6 months. And they didn't obviously make it. And so when that extended out, now everything we said to them and every way we represented to them was exactly how we do it, and the paperwork and everything. And when that expired, now do people get confused sometimes? Do they think, oh, we still have that price, or we still this, and they make assumptions? For sure they make assumptions, and that's where you can run into some issues. But over the years, we've been very good at working these things out, and we've always kept our word. And I am proud to say that we have never been sued. We've been to court, sometimes to evict people, you got to go to court, and if they're putting up a stink and they're going to bring their lawyer or something, there's other things. But basically, guys, don't ever make promises you can't keep. And now, as it all looks like it's going to turn out, it's going to turn out great. She ended up getting over, her upset and making mental adjustments, and she's getting a new mortgage, and now it's going to be great. So we told the truth all the way along the way. There was maybe some confusion, maybe some anxiety or even anger at some points because of, working out the deal. But you always have your paperwork. That's why, always make sure your paperwork's right, because you will definitely depend on that. And always make sure you're telling the truth. And, we've had students who have had trouble. We have one student, a kind of a prominent student, who had a bunch of people on the internet really going after him, trolling him constantly, because guess what? He didn't do things right. He didn't follow what we said. He didn't always, keep his promises, and he told people he was going to cash them out in blank time and didn't, and other issues. And so that's why you really want to keep track of what you say, like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday, Abe. Look at a penny today. It's National Penny Day. It's also Darwin's birthday today, which is kind of interesting. And Paul Bunyan, who is big in Minnesota, in Bemidji, there's a huge statue. So I love Paul Bunyan too. And those are truth tellers. All of our mythical, mythical legendary figures we hold up. Truth teller. So that's good. So you always, that's a great thing to follow. Follow that tip, and always never make promises you can't keep. Always tell the truth, and things tend to work out good at the end. And that's what happened with us on this deal. So guys, it's Friday, and so we won't see you tomorrow and Sunday, but we'll see you back here on Monday with Brunch with Brian. And also, guys, what's Sunday? Now, I'm not going to be with you. Sunday is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day. And let's do a couple of affirmations, because I've been forgetting to do our affirmations. Okay. Let's say, I always tell the truth and things work out. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. I always tell the truth and things work out. Okay, so that's really important to have that as your business credo. I'm going to have a great weekend. Let's all say that. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have a great weekend. Okay, I'm going to have a productive weekend. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have a productive weekend. Yes. All right. So say some good affirmations. Affirmations should just be a part of your everyday. anytime you're kind of feeling down in the dumps or just not on a positive track, you can always think of some really positive affirmation. You can make them up. It's easy to say a positive sentence with a lot of energy. So guys, until we see you, have a wonderful weekend. Be super productive. Make a bunch of phone calls to sellers and buyers. Get some action happening with the business. And we'll see you back here on Monday morning with Brunch with Brian. Until then, have a great weekend. Keep expecting success, getting awesome training, and expecting success and taking action. Yes.